a champion, bringing people together for fun, art, or innovations that make life better for all of us. We see you out there pushing your limits day after day, night after night, faithfully moving ahead on your roadmap. We've been watching, learning, and listening to what you need to lead your community forward. Now we're ready to introduce you to CATALYZE, a Web3 community platform built for you and the people you bring together.
Here comes the brand new.
CATALYZE features a clean look, standard community chat functions, video conferencing, event tools, team task management, and a helpful crowdsourcing board to get your community more involved. The CATALYZE platform will be governed by a community of communities like yours, using next-generation Web3 tools that ensure fairness, openness, and trust, rewarding champions like you and your community with a tokenized reward system. We're here to help you reach the next level. And it all starts now.
Mini AMA session with our special guest, Ray from CATALYZE. Hi, Ray. How are you doing?
Good. I can hear you. Can you see me? Everything here has been problematic technically wise.
Everything is good, Ray.
Okay.
Yeah,
see
so
you
sorry
and
to
can
hear
hear you.
that.
Okay, and nice to meet you. I've been trying to get in for 25 minutes, and so hopefully this connection holds.
Yeah, we are so happy to have you here. I know it's very early from where you're from, but again, we appreciate you coming in and saying hi to our community. How are
Oh, no
you?
problem. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're good as well. And yeah, super stoked about the topic that you're going to be
Super
talking
excited.
today. Now,
Cool.
can you share with us what your role is and what CATALYZE is for you?
Sure. So I'm the CEO and founder of CATALYZE, and
Mhm.
the company was founded 3.5 years ago, and we started working in blockchain about 18 months ago. My role as CEO is product development and design, as well as hiring people, building the team, working with investors, and I'm pretty active working with the community. So I do talk to a lot of communities within the IC ecosystem. I also talk to communities outside of the IC ecosystem, educating them on what Internet Computer is, what we're doing. So my job is probably to be the #1 salesperson for CATALYZE and to make people understand what we're trying to do and help them build their groups.
That's so inspiring. I mean, it's always really good to hear that a CEO is very active, very hands on, and so passionate about what you're working on. And we can really feel that with you. Now, how about with CATALYZE? How would you, if you could describe it like in just one or two sentences to encapsulate what you guys are working on, how would you
Sure.
do that?
We're building a Web3 Discord is probably the easiest way of describing it. We're trying to build a platform for communities that are interested in blockchain and Web3 to have something they call their own, built from the
Mhm.
ground up for them.
That's good because with the rise of crypto, especially, and all of these projects, Discord has been such an essential tool for everyone to use, especially with the guilds, with
Yeah,
scholars, with managers, and everything like that. So
that's correct,
with
Mulan.
you, yeah, and with you building this Discord specifically for Web3, the potential of this is just endless. So can you share like what made you want to start such thing?
Well, we like everybody else had used Discord for years. If
Mhm.
you're a gamer, you've known Discord for probably over 5 or 6, 7 years.
Mhm.
And we felt that when we looked at what the Web3 communities were doing, NFT communities, blockchain developer groups, DApp communities, DeFi, they were really running into a lot of issues with the user interfaces becoming kind of bloated. You have to use a lot of bots and tools and third-party plugins to get it to work. Whitelisting and proof of humanity and validation can be
Yeah.
challenging. Ultimately, running a community on Discord can be a full-time job for multiple people. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of settings you have to manage, and you have spammers and scammers on top of that. And so we wanted to build something that was much easier to use, more integrated, and really built for the stuff that blockchain communities do. I mean, whitelisting and having promotions and verifying identities when you're handing out millions and think about it, tens of millions of dollars worth of NFTs are airdropped based off of Discord verification of people, and sometimes that stuff doesn't work the way you expect. And so you're doing contractual activities that can impact your brand. And if you have a bad launch and people say, why didn't I get my NFT? I did everything I was supposed to do, and there's some kind of a hiccup in the system, you have to look at 4 or 5 different applications in a Google spreadsheet to figure out where you made a mistake. And so that was part of it. The other part of it was just integrating it with blockchain technology and giving people something that aligned with their ethos. We found it ironic that every chain and every platform that is so into Web3 and blockchain are basically building their companies, their communities using Web 2 tools. And we felt that if we really wanted to embrace Web3 and blockchain, we should be using tools that are built on that technology, and kind of like, say, eat your own dog food is a term here that we would use. And we really, as a community, and not just in the Dfinity community, but broadly across all of blockchain communities, that we have to start building our own tools to solve our own problems and to take us to the next level. And so those are the reasons why we decided to build a Web3 version of Discord, or like a Discord-like application on blockchain.
Yeah, Ray, I really like what you said about with regards to being basically Web3 being as a shared benefit. I think that's a true that's the reason why we want decentralization in the first place. Um, Basically, in Discord right now, there are a lot of channels, group channels, servers, communities, and there are a lot of admins. And the only ones that are really gaining from it, I guess financially, will be the Web2 companies of it. And this with what you're doing right now, I think this really is something big and has a potential to be big, especially in the bull market. Of course, it's in beta stage right now, and is it going to go through the full development. And uh, can, can you tell us more on, I guess, on your journey in building in the internet computer? Was it hard? Did you do a lot of research? Did you do Motoku University
Yeah.
training? And what are the advantages basically it can bring by using the ICP?
Sure. So we chose. I mean, I'm a researcher by trade. So I used to work at Gartner Inc. People know us as Gartner Research. So I was a researcher for over 15 years. And so to answer your first question, we did a lot of research, probably too much. But we did a lot of research on blockchain in general. Was it ready to build a Web 2 type platform? So there was that. And then we looked at Dfinity, and we immediately kind of took to it because the internet computer is very familiar for developers. Building applications on it doesn't feel very different than building on Web 2. The tools, the performance, everything runs on the chain. You don't need other systems to work. And so for the same reason that we want to build an integrated solution in CATALYZE where you don't have to use 50 apps to run your community, it was a similar experience working on the internet computer. You don't need a million different things to build it. Your data can be there, your application, your processing, everything can run on it. And so those are, things that we felt were the kind of the hallmarks of something we wanted to try. As far as our journey, so we first started building a prototype of CATALYZE last year in Motoko. It was all back end, and we just wanted to see if we could get all the pieces to work. And we did a mobile app, and we won a grant, and so we did all of that, and so that was like a proof of concept for us. And then we started this year building CATALYZE as we have it today, which it's hard in the fact that we're combining chat technology and blockchain community tools. So we've got events and task management and group management. So we're adding a lot more to the mix. So the difficulty is in more the user interface, making sure that it all kind of hangs together. The back-end technology, is complex. We've built the back-end twice now this year. And we're working on a third version of the back-end that'll be coming out in probably 3 or 4 weeks. And it's pretty typical with blockchain when you build something and then you start testing the performance. Is it fast enough? Does it do what you want it to do? And now we've been in beta testing for 3 weeks. We have 1,000 beta testers in there now. We have over 110 communities that have been developed during the testing. And we're learning a lot, mostly on the UI side, in terms of things people want. They want us to change. So far, we haven't come across any feedback in the beta where we have to rethink how we've built something front to back. So it's more about, okay, if we're going to build a Web3 community platform, what should it look like? How should it appear to me? How do I navigate it? And so that's one of the fun things about this project, is that there's no limits. We're not trying to make it look exactly like Discord or any other application. We're trying to make it function the way people need it to work. And then the user interface will kind of present itself. So this is how I work. This is how my team works together. And so we can adapt the user interface to fit how people naturally work, which is what you really want. I mean, this is a whole new way of communities build companies. 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. Even 5 years ago, that probably wasn't the case. Now people are raising millions of dollars to launch companies based on their community skills. The stuff that you guys are doing right now, talking to your community, interacting with them, 5 or 6 years ago, that would have been just something fun to do. Now you can go to people and build a company, build an organization around your ability to engage with people. And so the part that's probably hard is, what are the best ways of driving this natural engagement that people have in software so that it feels natural and it feels organic? As far as the technology, we did work in Motoko last year, but this year when we built the application out, what is now CATALYZE, we built it in Rust. The reason we chose Rust is because we want to be multi-chain at some point and support other blockchains so we can introduce people into the platform.
So good to hear, yeah.
Yes. So, with that, multi-chain means a lot to different people. At a base level, for somebody who's not in the IC ecosystem, it means, can I use my liquidity on the platform? So if I have Solana or Ethereum, can I convert it into ICP and use it on your platform? Can I log in with my wallet? Am I using MetaMask or Kepler from Cosmos or Phantom from Solana? And so we'll focus on that first. But in some ecosystems, they have a lot of pride in their tech. And they say, well, can you make a version that runs natively on Cardano, on Near, on Polygon? And so if we were ever to do that, Rust gives us the skills necessary in most cases to build on some of these other platforms, not all. So over time, based on market needs, we'll either support their wallet, support their liquidity, so they feel welcome, so they can build their community on CATALYZE. And for those ecosystems where they want to have their own version of CATALYZE, if the tech allows us to do it, and we have the funding to do it, then we'll build a version. And what we'll do is we'll federate the internet computer version with those other versions on the back end. So we build this federated network of chain back ends We'll try not to do that too many times because it kind of dilutes your development team if you have to support 5 or 6. I mean, it would be the same thing as, imagine if there was 10 desktop operating systems, and you made a word processor, right? And you had a document management app, and you had to have an Apple version, a Windows version, a Linux version, and then 10
Just
other
not the
versions.
most efficient.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. So we have designed the back end so it is very portable. So for us to port, our back end to another chain might take 3 months to do. But then they would have a native application, so they would be able to use their wallet, use their currency, and they would know that they're running a version that runs on their chain. Obviously, we would say, look, with IC, there's no gas fees. Everything can run on chain, so there's some advantages. But we also know that, because we want to be a mass adopted platform, we can't force people to do something that they don't want to do. And people will have a lot of pride, like you said, in the chain that they've chosen. And so we have to be, respectful of that. And so we'll do our best to support them in any way we can. Like I said, the first thing we'll try to do in the fall is allow for multi-wallet logins. So if you have MetaMask, you can log in, and a few other wallets, and then we'll build from there.
That's amazing.
Nice.
And you've shared so many strong points. So I love that this is essentially a project for the community. And it also feels like it's by the community because you really listen to the feedback from the beta, like what they want to see, how they want to use it essentially. And I also love that you mentioned how respectful you are of how people of the things that they chose essentially, because you're right, you can't really force them to, oh hey, you just have to pick this or switch here. And I think that's also a huge key in the mass adoption of it, right? Because it's so difficult to keep introducing things. So instead of introducing something that they have no idea of, why not integrate it to something that they are already using and just show that, hey, here's a huge potential if you continue to integrate, or if you also just add on here. So that's really nice. And I love how you're really, it shows the research that you did. It really shows because the way that you explain things are very, very detailed, and I
And
appreciate that.
modern Mulan, Discord is really big here in the Philippines because we have a lot of guilds,
Yeah.
and they use
Yeah.
Discord. I recently attended one, actually one of the biggest here in the Philippines, Guild Games (YGG),
Okay.
and yeah, I entered. I got lost for some reason. I got confused because there are a lot of channels,
Yeah.
countries, groups.
Yeah,
For
they are
someone
so complicated. Yeah.
complicated, for someone who is new, I am still new actually with Discord. It was overwhelming actually. And then when I entered, I wasn't able to get in, even though I'm the speaker, because the capacity of the channel has maxed out already. So it's really complex. So
It can be. I mean, that's part of it is that when people set up their Discord servers, they kind of look at other servers and how they're set up, and they duplicate that. And
You
there's
follow,
flexibility.
yeah.
You follow that. I mean, even when people set up their initial communities on CATALYZE, they tried to duplicate exactly how their Discord server was set up with the same channels and all that. And that's fine because people like familiarity. I think human beings like something that's familiar. When it's unfamiliar, it can be exciting or it can be scary depending on the person. And so we've taken a lot of effort to make the UI more approachable and to protect you from creating something overly complex is the best way of describing it. We try to be flexible, but we also try to allow you to focus. And so one of the things that CATALYZE does is that when you go into a particular server, or in our case we call them communities, you have the option of turning off everything else. So when you switch to a community, all your chats, all your events, all your tasks are just for that. That's all you see. There's no server list with the numbers popping like a pinball machine, so you see all the stuff that's going on that you're missing. You focus on whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And so that is an option. We're going to have a toggle where you can turn that off, so you
Mm.
can see more. Because some people like to be like an air traffic controller and they want to see everything that's happening all the time.
Everything.
But it
Mhm.
doesn't. It's not healthy when you have those distractions because you're not present. You won't be present what you're doing. And then the complexity, having UI guidelines so that when you build your communities, we're actually going to write research about best in class designs of communities, how to set up channels, how to manage groups, how to manage online sessions. We're going to give you education as well as the tooling, and we're going to talk to other people in our user base to say this is the best practice for organizing channels, and how many channels
Mm.
is too many channels. Here's how you conduct an online session. Nobody teaches you that. Even what you're doing now, there's no one really teaches you how to do interviews. You're just doing them
Mm.
because you're good at it and you've
Yeah.
practiced. If people are trying to build a community, a lot of times they haven't been trained to be a community manager. They're just using the tool and
Yeah.
they need help. So one of the things that we want to do that would be similar to guilds are, creating these user communities on these different skills, how to build the right, creating templates. What's a good template for if I'm building a DeFi community? Does Catalyze have a template that I can launch so it has
Mm.
pre-built
Mhm.
channels? So all I only have to do is change a couple and I'm good to go. If I'm running an NFT creator community and I'm an artist, I've never used Discord or Catalyze or anything before. I'm an artist. Can you give me a template for creating an artist community so I don't have to figure out what channels to do and how to organize it? And we think that as we start implementing templates, it will really help people get going faster and
Yeah.
and avoid that, kind of with a blank piece of paper, you can just keep creating channels all day long. It'll just keep getting bigger
Yeah.
and bigger and bigger. You
Mm.
put subheadings on there, you try to organize them, and eventually, um, if you're not a Discord user and you go in there and you see 60 rows of content with little icons
Yeah.
next to it and lights
Yeah.
popping, you don't know where you're supposed to go, and you don't know where you're supposed to focus. And if you're the community manager and you want your community to actually do something specific, they go, I don't even know where to start. Like,
Yeah.
your FAQ doesn't even line up to what you actually have done here as you built it. And we want
Mm.
to try to get around that to help it. There's a, I have this like saying that, we need to make everything smaller. We need to make the internet smaller. We need to make the world to feel smaller. And the same thing with these applications. If they feel too big and too overwhelming, they will be. And so we need to find a way to allow you to focus and make the experience smaller so you feel more connected to people, which is the whole
Mm.
reason that you have a community,
Mhm.
right? You don't want to be this person that joins something enormous and you don't feel like you matter. You don't feel like you're connected
Yeah.
to it. You have no emotional connection to the community because
Mm.
that's not the design center of these platforms. These design center, I mean, Discord was originally built and it's a fine application. We don't have anything against it. We use it. Um, for
Mhm.
testing, but it was designed for gamers originally to talk on their
Mm.
headset and to play Call of Duty. That was what it was designed to do. And
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
time, it's evolved into a chat application with more features. And I think they've done a really good job. But now we're in this place where people are creating companies based off their communities. They're building
Mm.
entire organizations off their communities.
Yeah.
Not just for fun; it's for their careers. And
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't think they had that in mind when they built it, right? And so we do.
Yeah.
We're building this thing with the idea that you might run a company on this platform. You might build an organization, a professional community on this platform. Is this what you want? Like, do you want a Discord for that? Would you have created Discord if you said, "Hey, I want to build a community of 40,000 people and change the world in terms of how they view Definity"? I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah.
The answer we don't think is yes. We think it's not really, and
Yeah.
so that's why we decided to build it.
Yeah, and I think it really reverts back to what you said earlier, wherein why are we using Web 2 applications for when
Yeah,
we're heading to the Web 3? So that's a really, really strong point there. And I think even people in the chat, they already see the potential in this. Franz Radi said that's a strong point. Users will love that. Um, Here as well. Cian Mercado said we should create a community with Catalyze, even though we start with the Filipino community first. So we'll be looking forward to that. But like you said, you are in the beta right now, right? So
Yeah, well, you
aside
can.
from
Well,
the beta, mm.
yeah, I just posted the URL for the beta, so your whole community can have access to it. So I just
Oh, that's
invited.
Oh,
cool.
So
let's
I
do
just
it.
invited. So I just invited
Let
all
me
of you to
share it.
try it, so you can share it with your community. We do code pushes, a lot. So I've been quiet about sharing this because some days it might not work for 10 minutes because we're pushing up a new
Mm.
release. But you guys are
Yeah.
welcome to try it. We'd be happy to get your feedback. We also are going to be adding multi-language support. So we've
Nice.
already
Oh,
we've
that's
already
cool. Yeah.
we've already tested 5 or 6 languages. We've even tested Arabic, where the menus move, so that everything is
Mhm.
right to left. So we had to change the menus around and all that. So we've actually got that to work. We will. What that will mean is that the entire menu system, all the drop downs, everything will all be in your native language. So if we support your language, the entire experience will be in local language.
Oh,
It's
We
wow.
are
amazing.
we are looking for translators. So if anybody was looking to freelance as a translator, there's not that
Oh,
much in the database in terms of language translation. There's not a lot of menus and crazy amounts of content. But when
Mhm.
we once we stabilize the application, then we're going to start focusing on multiple languages, and we will have channels that are language specific, just like Discord. But the
Mhm.
entire application should be in your local language. So if you run a community that relies on local language, you shouldn't have to try to figure out how to use the app because it doesn't
agree.
support that, right? So we'll have that as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, you guys are welcome to try it. Um, you can create your own communities. We're gonna right now. The plan is to keep everything on there, even when we go to public beta. So right now, as of today, though this may
Mhm.
change, we're not going to wipe the database. So if somebody creates a community, we already have one community that's pushing 400 people.
Wow.
So once we launch the public beta, which hopefully will be this month, we intend to, if we can, keep everything. If we can't, we're going to try to migrate the data over to the new version. But right now, I don't think we're going to have to do that. I think we should be okay. But you guys can try it, give us your feedback. We are very
Mhm.
responsive. There's a channel or a group called the Alpha Team. So everyone's welcome to join
Mhm.
the Alpha Team if you want to give specific feedback to us. So all the developers on the team are in the Alpha Team testing community, and you
Oh
can go in there
wow, that's
and
cool.
you can talk to us directly. You can give us comments. You don't have to be. I mean, I would say you don't have to be polite, but just say whatever you feel. Right? I mean, just say whatever
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
feel. If something doesn't make sense, then tell us. I don't get this, or
Mhm.
this is too slow, or I would like to go from here to there faster. Whatever it is, we were
Mhm.
building a list and we push updates from that list. So, in a way, we've given you, a kind of a ball of clay that we've
Mhm.
shaped, but now you have the opportunity to get your hands dirty and shape it yourself as a community and say, this is what we need. I need these features, and we'll do our best to try to support those.
That's so cool. And I I know that you guys are still building it, but there are so many cool features already that I can't wait to see like the final
Yeah.
product when it's actually out and what else you guys are going to be working on. So speaking of that, can you give us like a quick what's in store for Catalyze? What else can we expect from you guys? So we already know what's happening for this month and
Yeah.
the near future. How about the long term? What's the vision there?
So the vision is one of the things that we would like to do is there's a saying called raise all ships, and that in the
Mhm.
ecosystem that means the same thing that I talked about with Web3 communities should use Web3 technology.
Mhm.
We want to integrate Catalyze with other IC platforms. So what'll be coming is we're going to integrate directly with Entrepot for the minting. So you'll be able to mint.
Mm,
So if you have a creator community
okay.
and you're reviewing artwork on Catalyze and you're ready to launch your collection or even just a couple of pieces, you'll be able to mint the NFT inside of Catalyze and post it to Entrepot, and eventually
Oh, that's so cool.
be able to check your marketplace
Nice.
from inside of Catalyze to see how things are going. Then Entrepro said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could do a 5,000 NFT drop into a community in your platform directly, or if somebody was creating an NFT collection and they didn't have a community, what are they going to do? Wouldn't it be cool if they could go into Entrepro and push a button and spawn an NFT community and invite people to it, so they would integrate the two together?" So we're going to start working on that. We're working with Infinity Swap now to integrate their wallet into our platform.
Yeah.
We'll be integrating Stoic and Plugged and others. We're also going to be working with MetaMask to integrate that. We're going to be integrating with Mod Club to use their proof of humanity for whitelisting.
Yeah.
So if you are going to do an airdrop, we can do the KYC using their tool for that kind of community. So if you are doing something that requires that level of fidelity for verification, we'll integrate with them. We've talked to Nuance about turning AMAs into blog posts, so that you could actually go from doing one of these, taking the
That'd be
notes,
so helpful.
taking the notes from an AMA and then popping them into Nuance, editing them, making them look nice, and then publishing the results and having an integrated flow there. And then we'll work with other groups. We've talked to Rick Porter over at Discover. So he and I talked early this year about integrating. We don't know yet what we would do. He's got a lot of stuff to do. They raised a lot of money, so he's got a lot he's got to work on. But we really want to leverage the platforms in this ecosystem and other NFT marketplaces and do the same thing. So that's coming. And then obviously, language support will be coming. And then probably outside of the ecosystem is probably picking one other chain where we'll build more of a native support model and integrate things together. What I want to do in Q1 is start supporting cross-chain hackathons. So where we get people to say, hey, Definity needs to connect to Ethereum, or that Definity is working on the tech there. But then how about getting developers from the different ecosystems to work on a joint problem we all have? That's why we want to see community to community integration. So everything we've talked about so far has been you working in your community. What we want to launch next year is community collaboration, where you can actually create shared workspaces between communities and work on something. So Ethereum developers working with ICP developers to build some cool DeFi or application together and solve a problem.
It's a virtual WeWork.
Exactly. It's a great way of describing it. So we want to have this kind of you have your shared office space, but then you have mixers and you go to the cafeteria and you talk to each other and you start leveraging. That doesn't happen on other platforms. It doesn't really happen on Slack. Though they're trying with the integrations of a channel. We want to take our tooling, events, task management, and communications and say, let's do cross-chain hackathons. If you have a group that's focused on sustainability and climate, and you want to have 20 groups work on something together, we want to build the tooling so you can make that happen. You can share contact lists, you can talk to each other, have shared rooms. And then the thing that we're going to also do this fall is activate Web 2 bridging. So one of the things that CATALYZE can do now is connect to Discord. We can connect to Telegram. We can connect to WhatsApp and Slack. So we can build real-time chat between those platforms and a CATALYZE community. So we're working with DK Lord and his artwork, but also his community to bring them over to CATALYZE, and we're going to connect directly to his Discord. And then we're talking to ICP Squad and ICP Maximalist to connect to their communities directly from CATALYZE, so we can show people how you can have that two-way communication. Because one of the things that in our research that we saw, if you build a chat app or a collaboration platform on any blockchain, one of the hardest things for people to do is migrate their communities over. Imagine if you had to tell 5,000 people, you all need to get new IDs. You all have to get internet IDs. And I don't know what an internet ID is. I don't know what that is. And I don't want to do it. So what's the answer? So the answer is we activate a bridge, and so you can have people who are more technically savvy. They go right in to CATALYZE, and the people who stay on Discord can log in through Discord, and they both can still talk. And over time, these people can migrate organically to the new platform, and you don't risk losing all those people. What we didn't
Yeah.
want to do was disrupt the hard work communities put
Yeah,
into
I agree.
building their communities.
Mhm.
And we're
Such a
one of
good
the, I think,
point. Yeah.
we're, I think, one of the only blockchain companies that allows you to migrate your communities as
Hmm.
organically and at a pace that fits you. We don't force you to go out and
Mm.
create 8,000
Yeah,
new
yeah,
IDs and move over and throw away everything you've done to come over. So those are
yeah.
kind of some of the major things. So, platform integration this fall, wallet integration with other chains this fall, and then we're going to start working on what I call cross-community collaboration. So that'll be a thing we'll work on, language
Hmm.
support, and then picking a chain that will build a mirrored version of CATALYZE
Hmm.
on. People can tell us which one they like us to see. They do. We'll probably create a poll. I've already done one poll on Twitter. But we probably have to do a little bit more polling. Obviously
Yeah.
Ethereum is big. A lot
Mhm.
of IC holders also hold Ethereum. So that a lot of them hold Polygon. So Matic is another one.
Yeah.
Solana.
Mhm.
There's so many.
Hmm.
But we're going to be looking for communities that are open-minded, are very collaborative, um,
Mhm.
as well as very passionate about their platform, and they really need that. They need to have their own version.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
when we decide on when we'll announce it, we'll work with partners in that ecosystem, and then make sure we can integrate them nicely with IC, so they feel welcome.
Hmm.
But we support their technology in a way they feel good about using what we're doing. Which is why if you see me, talking to Cardano people or Polygon people on our channel, it's because I'm just trying to understand, like, what
Yeah.
do you like about your
Yeah.
chain, and what NFTs do you guys like here? It's like visiting, traveling the world. Everybody has different customs
Mhm.
and different
Yeah.
styles, so I'm trying to,
Different countries. Yeah.
exactly. So we have to be very open to everyone has different cultures on technology,
Mhm.
just like they have personal cultures. And so we want to appreciate them, understand them, and try to do our best to embrace as much of it as we can,
Mhm.
with the
Hmm.
budget that we have. I would love to speak
Yeah.
5, 10 languages and just fly around the world and enjoy the culture of all the different countries.
Mhm.
But, you can't always do that. So you've got to pick your spots.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think that's a very powerful tool as well, because you're not, again, you're breaking down so many barriers, but not in
Yeah.
the sense that you're disrespecting what they've already built,
Yeah.
but reconciling everything good about every platform that people are using. So
Hmm.
that's really, really good. And we have so many comments here. It's mind blowing. Mr. Kent said, thank you for that. And it's,
Yeah. Let's get the
Thank you.
questions.
Aguilar said, very interesting. Yeah.
Do you
Some
have questions
questions
from the
here.
viewers? Yeah.
Yeah, so here's one from Kajiki. What's the most important part of the ecosystem?
Well, I think in the Definity ecosystem, the thing that even other chain people have told me is that we really are a community. Everybody
Mm,
knows everybody else. Rick and I started talking when neither one of us had anything, just ideas. So the
mm,
thing that about this ecosystem that's really compelling is that everybody's trying to help everybody else. You
mm,
Yeah.
guys see our finished products that you use, but there are so many conversations that happen behind the scenes, off camera.
mm,
People reviewing each other's code, trying to solve the same problems. I'm friends with Bob Bodley, over at
Yeah.
Tonic, and he worked
Hmm.
with us in our tokenomics model last
oh wow,
fall.
it's cool.
So when you see any Definity project, almost every one, I think, if not every, it's the effort of that team, but it's
Mm,
also in some ways the effort of the community, because we're all trying to
mm,
Hmm.
help each other. If one of us
yeah.
runs into a problem, we don't, we have to run to Definity and say, hey, can you help us? And they're always willing to help. I mean, it's crazy.
Mm,
They're trying to build a blockchain and then help us build our stuff at
yeah.
the same time, which is crazy hard. But we don't have to, because you can just go to another development team and say, hey, look, I'm having
Mm,
problems doing this. Yeah, so am I right now, or I did, and I solved it before. So Steve over at Tonic helped us figure out how to do a multi login with different types of Google ID, Apple ID, Discord, Internet ID. How are we going to do this?
Hmm.
How are we going to make it work? And he said, try this, try that. And we just tried it, and we worked on it and got it to work. So the thing about this ecosystem, the most important, is that everybody wants to see everybody else succeed, is the best way to describe it. You know, it's very unique. I've been told by other VCs that support other blockchains that in some blockchains, everyone's like an island. You're working on your project.
Yeah.
It's all about what you're doing. You're very focused, very siloed. And they don't see that with us. It's like this, you know, it's like camp. We're all like doing arts and crafts, and we're working at the table together, building stuff, but we're helping each other at the same time. I think that's really refreshing to see. That's probably the most important thing.
Yeah,
in this ecosystem.
Ray, you mentioned, I think, Modern Mulan. One of the key feature here that really impressed me is the capability of transitioning from Web 2 to basically to the blockchain, to the Web 3, to the project of CATALYZE.
Yeah.
What do you think about the risk? We've had a lot of stories a bit of projects getting hacked, all the tokens getting stolen, or basically being manipulated by bots, or basically being manipulated by fraudsters, either mirroring something that is really not that community, but basically something else. Well,
Security is such a big thing.
Yeah.
So we were very lucky. One of our lead developers is a blockchain software auditor. So we CATALYZE, just the back end is, I think, 80,000 lines of code so far, maybe more.
Oh, wow.
And we've done internal audits on it all the way through. We've built bot detection software in the platform already. So when you log in, we're actually checking to see if you are a bot. We've built in backup and storage systems so that if something were to happen and your community would be corrupted, we can restore it in a fresh version. So we take security very seriously. That's why we're using the IC. And our chat engine is also, you know, is an end-to-end encryption, which you can turn on. So an additional level of encryption can be activated in your community. You can do, communities can be private and invite only, so nobody knows you exist. You can be completely invisible. And the only way that somebody knows you exist is if you send them an invite. We can have, you know, public communities that are, you know, invite required, meaning you have to apply. So people have to figure out, you know, basically if you could do a KYC if you want to. So if you wanted to build a community where we use Mod Club as a identification system, you could build a super secure KYC community on the platform. And it's not only invite only, there's proof of humanity done as you join this community. So, you know, that's some of the interesting things that we've done there. It's being on blockchain doesn't mean you can't be hacked. It means writing good code. It means being audited. So when we're done, we will have an external third-party audit on front end and back end code and all our systems. But since we have an auditor on staff, we're doing internal audits and unit testing all the way through development of the application. In fact, when we're done, we may write a series of articles about how to do good software development on the IC from a security perspective. Because, you know, in new blockchains, and not just Definity, every blockchain, part of the challenge is VCs want you to build super fast. And when you're running 100 miles an hour, it's hard to test everything the way you want. And so it's kind of chicken and the egg. If you build quickly, you can get users and you get more funding and you get more users, but you also run the risk of building code that might not be as secure as you would like it to be. And so building fast has a cost. And so, you know, one thing that it's taken us a while to get going. You know, we've spent a lot of time researching and building and coding, and we think that's the right thing to do because, you know, hopefully, knock on wood, we've taken the precautions necessary so people are safe. No system is 100% secure. You're always working to make it better, but you have to think about security from the very beginning. And like I said, as developers, as startups, you have to balance that with the pressure from your supporters, your investors, to get the thing out as quickly as you can. The IC makes it relatively straightforward. The more stuff you can have on it, the more secure it is. Using additional end-to-end encryption in chat rooms. So if you really wanted to, you could have a private group with proof of humanity and additional layers of security on chat. The challenge with higher levels of security is if you make a mistake, you can lock yourself out. And so you have to have it so it's still user friendly. Like, oh, I did this thing and now nobody can use my platform, not even me. So you don't want to make it so, Fort Knox or
Yeah.
secure that you get locked out very easily, but you want to protect them. And because we've built in tools for bot detection and spoofing into the application, we'll be monitoring that and looking for ways to improve it. And then we'll work with the User Geek, Canister Geek team on tooling there to help us manage the platform front to back. That's what we can do. And it's auditing is helpful. Testing is key, and not rushing features out to market that are not as secure as they should be. I think those are all hallmarks of keeping things secure.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Generally prioritizing quality. Yeah.
Yeah,
Me
and
too.
then-
I
and
am
then
really excited
I
about
have
this.
one more thing. So on the non-technical side, our tokenomics model actually disincents spamming and spoofing. So if you want to spam 5,000 people, it's going to be very expensive. If you've earned tokens, you'll lose those tokens if you start spamming and harassing people.
That's
so
a
even if
good
you're not,
one. Yeah.
so even if you're not like
Yeah.
an overt like bot, we're going to make it very costly for people to do things, to waste people's time, to say, hey, I noticed we're on the same Discord server. Do you
Yeah.
invest in crypto? You get a lot of those. So doing those kind of unsolicited reach outs will have a cost to them. It will cost you tokens to bug people. It will cost you tokens to spam people. And people will learn very quickly that if they can penetrate any tech on our end, which will be hard, that the economic cost will make it unattractive. In a neighborhood, if you have a 120-pound Rottweiler on your front yard, the robber is going to walk by your house. It's not worth it to them because you see a 120-pound
That's a good
Rottweiler
point.
waiting for you. And so we want to be that. We want to have a public tokenomics model that says, hey, look, this is our 120-pound Rottweiler. If you want to come here and do this, you may be really smart and good luck, but we've got something here waiting for you that's going to make it very expensive to try. And that's not, and we're not encouraging hackers to hack us. We're not,
Yeah.
even because if you do that, you're invite that. We're not saying that at all. We're just saying that we're trying to do our best to make the platform secure and disincent people with tokenomics to, not try to bug people. Just treat them with respect. Don't try to take their money. Don't try to take their identity. We're going to work very hard to stop you from doing that, and we're going to make it economically uncomfortable as much as we can to behave badly anyway. Not just being poor guests on the platform will be economically unattractive.
Exactly. Ray, CATALYZE is such a promising project, and it's obviously so well thought out, and so much effort has been put into it, not only by your team, but as you mentioned, with help from other teams as well. It's the making of it is collaborative. The program will also be collaborative on its own. So many exciting things ahead. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us, and we would love to have you back in, maybe with
Okay.
the beta test. Maybe we can show them how things work, so that they could also visualize, and it's very different when they could see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have it. I mean, I would have demoed it if you wanted to see it. I could fire it up, but I mean, why don't you play with it? We have a new UI push out that's coming out today. We've added emojis and GIFs and some other things people
Oh,
wanted
that's
to
cute.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a new image handler that's coming in, so it'll basically structure the images a lot cleaner. So that should be coming out today. So what I would say is create a couple of communities on it, play with it, and then I'll come back whenever you want, and we can do an online demo and talk about what you've
That'd be
seen
great.
and play
That's a
with
nice
it
one.
and talk about how things could be different. So I'm happy to come back anytime you want and do a demo.
That's a nice
We'll
one.
for sure
Well,
check
then
it
we'll
out.
have one last. Do we have questions from viewers right now?
We have most of them have been answered by Ray, but let me check here if there are some that we've missed. So here's one from France. Do you have referral rewards? And one more question I want to add is one that he sent earlier. Like, how could they be a part of your team to be a translator or any other job essentially that they could contribute for the project?
Okay. So on the contributing thing side of it, so we're going to create an ambassador program. So if people wanted to be an ambassador and talk about Catalyze in their community, we're going to have something like that built in the fourth quarter. We are going to be staking communities with tokens. So when we activate our token model, every community will get staked with tokens, and you actually will earn tokens for referring people. So all the stuff that you do for free now, you'll earn
To be
tokens,
incentivized.
right?
Yeah,
So
that'd be
incentivized.
great.
So
That's
if you like a post, if you go attend an AMA and you stay to the end, if you ask questions, you'll earn tokens. If you offer to be a moderator or run an AMA, you'll earn tokens. What you guys are doing right now would earn tokens for your community. Every community is going to have their own multi-sig wallet, so they can earn tokens at the community level, as well as every individual will have their own wallet and they'll earn tokens. You can convert those tokens into CATALYZE tokens, and then that can be swapped into ICP, into Ethereum, into Bitcoin, what have you. If you bring other communities onto CATALYZE, you'll earn tokens. So there will be a referral rewards program that's built into our tokenomics that we will, provide to people, so that as they become good advocates or ambassadors of the platform, they get rewarded. I do a video on the idea of shared benefit. We talked about that. The platform is for the communities, and as you make the communities richer, you will be rewarded with the tokens from the platform. That's the way it should work. In Web 2, you do a bunch of stuff and they sell your data and they make billions of dollars, right? That's not what we do. When you contribute your time, you write things, you create content for the platform, you should get paid, if you will, earn tokens for doing that.
That's a good point.
And so you own your own data, you own your own identity, and as you contribute to your community, you earn tokens for the community. And the community itself will also earn tokens as they get bigger. So every month we'll stake communities with new tokens based on their growth and their engagement level. So not only are you helping yourself, as you're more engaged with your community, you come to meetings like this, you engage with the other folks, you talk to them, you participate, the community itself and your wallets become fuller with tokens. And then you can spend those tokens on the platform for premium services. If you want to run an online conference, we're going to have NFT ticketing. You can actually even stake tokens in other projects, right? So if you wanted to invest in another project, you could create the equivalent of like a neuron on CATALYZE and stake tokens. Say, hey, I want to help launch this new community, and I want to put some tokens into it, and I will too. Me too. And you just create a neuron, equivalent for the community to help them get off the ground. So there's a lot of cool things that we can do. So as far as working with us, you can always DM me. I'm not some highfalutin CEO that you can't talk to. You can always DM me on Twitter. My DMs are open. You can email me. You can go into the alpha team on CATALYZE and just say, hey, I'd like to, under suggestions, say I'd like to help, and just tell us what you'd like to do, and then we can have a side conversation and talk about it. The more you guys are involved, the more we can get your help, the faster we'll grow. We want to have 25 million people on this platform inside of 5 years, maybe inside of 3. In order to do that, we're going to need this to be, not to use the term again, but a community effort. We're 12 people, we'll get bigger, but the more you can work with us, the faster we'll grow.
Nice. Wow.
Again, such strong points. I love that you emphasize things that people are looking for now: security, protection of data, very, very important, and again, the overall security, and as well as being appreciative and incentivizing their participation in building this vision that you have for CATALYZE. So Ray, you have been so kind and generous with your time and knowledge. Thank you so much for coming out. We'll definitely grab that offer that you said. We'll take your word for it that you'll be back and show us the actual demo, because we
Thank you
have
very much.
so many questions here. But I think a dedicated video for that is needed. So again, thank you very much on behalf of ICP Manila. We're so happy to have you here, and see you again soon.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ray. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody online. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Ray.
Bye.
Have a great day.